Aloha and welcome to another episode of After School All-Stars Hawaii's Arts and Crafts Corner with me, Tosa Lobendan. In today's video, we will be doing a two-step project, but we will only be completing the first step today, and that is making a heart mermaid inspired stencil. We will be creating this image to go on a shirt or bag, depending on what you have at home, with paint. So we are going to go over the materials that we need, and then we are going to get started with our project. First, you're going to need a piece of thicker paper. I have cardstock, but you can also use cardboard if you do not have thick paper like that. The second item that you're going to need is a pencil. Try to sharpen it, make sure it has eraser on it. The third item that you're going to need, you are going to need to ask for parent permission before you use this. It is a Fiskars paper cutter. It's very sharp, so please make sure that you are asking for parent permission and you're being very careful while you're using this item. And the last item that you're going to need is, well, I grabbed a container of paint, but I grabbed it because I like the circumference of the circle. It is perfect for the size of scales that I want to make on my image. And as you can see, I already kind of cut out some of the holes on our stencil just to give you a quick demonstration of what it'll look like. So I'm going to let you pause here, grab all of your materials. I'm going to set up my space and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So as you can see, I already drew an outline of the heart that I wanted to make. And so we are going to get started on, first what we're gonna do is put our lines. So we're going to draw lines where we want the bottom of the scales to lay. So I'm just going to I usually use the paint. So I'm gonna line it up with the bottom, and that's why I have a rounded edge like this. And that is where I'm going to draw my first scale, just so that I kind of know like where I want my placement. And then from there, I'm going to start drawing lines. So right where this first line came, and then it's about maybe a little less than an inch, and I'm just going to draw lines across and try to draw them lighter than darker, but I am drawing them darker just for viewing purposes. And we are going to go all the way up the heart. Try to make them straight as you can, but don't worry if they are a little off, because you can fix that when you are erasing all the lines. One more, and then these are going to be just scales on the top, so I don't have to worry about that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by lining up where I want the curve of the scale to be over the last connector line. So it's going to go around like this. I'll show you one. And then I'm going to line my paint up, or my container up, again with the edge on the line, and then right next to the first scale that I drew. Around, and then I'm just gonna go to the edge and make side scales. And same thing on this side, another side scale. I'm gonna go again to the next line, right where the two lines meet, and I'm just gonna continue drawing my circles over and over and over. And again, I'm not pushing too hard, but I do want to make sure that I'm pushing hard enough so that I can see what I'm doing when I'm cutting. And then same thing on this side. And then I am just going to continue to repeat this process until I get all the way to the top. So I'm going to fast forward, and then I will see you back in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. So I erased all the lines that I had drawn just as markers, just so it cleaned up a little bit more. And I'm going to now trace the inner parts of the scales, and that is actually where the paint is going to go on the shirt. So it's really simple. I go about maybe 3 centimeters away from the edge of all the border, and I just trace like that, kind of like a teardrop shaped, but I'm just following the scale and keeping my distance. When I get to the edges, I'm actually going to draw the line straight to the edge, the outline of the heart, because we are going to draw one more outline around the large part of the heart as that stencil as well. So I am going to draw all of my inner scales. I'm gonna fast forward this part as well. You can make yours any width that you want. This is just my preference. And then when we come back, we will start the cutting process. All right, welcome back. So as you can see, I drew in all of the scales and I also drew the outline of the heart. I also put a piece of tape down on the top of my paper, and I did place another piece of paper underneath just to catch the blade of the paper cutter that we have. So again, this is the Fiskars brand paper cutter. It is heavy duty, but that does not mean that you need to be rough with it. You can definitely be very gentle, and again, must ask for parent permission before you use this. If not, scissors work as well. And we are going to take off the lid very carefully. And as you can see, the tip, we are going to hold it just like a regular pencil in our hand. And because I taped the paper down, we don't really have to hold the paper as much. And so I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm just going to follow the line with the blade. And I'm just very gently pressing down. You don't have to go too hard. And you want to go slow because the first time that you use this, it is going to be a little different. It's not like using a pencil. You do have to move it around and change the position of it because it is a straight edge. So I'm just very carefully following the tracing lines on the image. And I am just going to go all the way up around the darker lines or the inside scales that I drew. And I did try to make them a little bit darker just so that I could see what I'm actually cutting. It can get a little confusing when there's so many lines on your page. And I'm just cutting the inside scales. I'm not cutting outside or doing anything different. And I'm going to try to make sure that I cut each cut equally so that when I pop them out, they come out easy, which they usually do. And if you do have any issues, you can just go over it again with whatever part you need popped out with the paper cutter. So I'm going to fast forward this. I'm gonna pop out all of these and then we can see what our finished product looks like. Be right back, guys. Ooh, nice. So I cut out all the pieces, but I'm going to flip the image over. Let me just take off this tape, just to kind of make sure that all of the edges are perforated. Ooh, be careful with the tape when you're taking it off. The way that I want it to be. So you can kind of see there's little cutouts for each image, and we are going to take that and we are just going to pop all of these out. And I am going to pop it out backwards just so I can see where I've cut. I already see one spot where right here where I didn't cut that edge. So I'm going to poke that out last. And I'm going to actually, again, fast forward just so we can get through this. And I'm just gonna be poking out all these backs. And then when we're done, we'll flip it over. So I will be right back. I got all of the inner scales out. As you can see, I did have to go over some of the areas where the paper kind of stuck. And I have a large pile of paper here on the side. I'm gonna scoop that all together. And the very last thing that we are going to do is we're actually going to cut the outline of the heart out so that we only have this remaining piece as our stencil. So I'm actually going to do that last bit with you. Again, I'm going to hold very carefully and just go very slowly around the edge of the heart, making sure I'm watching my fingers and I'm going slow. And make sure that you're holding your paper straight as well, and that you are applying pressure with your finger, your pointer finger, on the base. And when I get closer to my body, I go the opposite way, up to the line. And then again, I'm coming around the curve, watching my fingers, watching my hand. And you wanna, again, try to match up those lines. I'll go this way, away from my body, up the heart. And again, just be careful with how you're holding it. I did switch, so my pinky is out, and now I'm applying pressure with my thumb. Again, going very slowly, using my pinky now as a guide. And again, just make sure you're holding onto the paper close enough. And then, again, I'm going to put my lid on. And let's pop this out. Right on. Oh. Yay, guys. Awesome. All right, guys, this is our finished product. It is our stencil. We've cut out all the holes. Everything is ready to go. All we need to do now is apply it to our shirt, which will be in our next video. So please make sure that you stay tuned. I hope that you had a wonderful time making this with me today, and that you continue to follow us. Like, share, and subscribe at our @AllStars Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more updates and more videos. Until next time, guys, aloha.